pop culture. Everything is permitted.
Welcome to episode 74 of Everything is Permitted here in the Batcave known as Wade's Comic Madness. I'm your captain and host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-hosts, the Man of Steel, Matt Reppert, and the Master of Puns, Brittany Tomes. How we doing?
I'm glad to be a part of this DC fandom.
I'm excited to be in this Hall of Heroes.
It's
Super Friends.
Super Friends!
I was going to say, it's the Just Us League down here right now.
It most certainly is.
Oh, man.
So let's get right into it this week. Obviously, last week's show, we announced that we would be doing part 2 of our 300 Most Essential Film segment. That is not going to happen this week.
That was a lie.
That was a lie. A bold-faced lie, sir. Because DC Fandome dropped more content than I could have possibly imagined they would have. I was shocked. So this episode is a Fandome wrap-up special. It's all going to be DC today. We'll have everything from the Snyder Cut to Matt Reeves' The Batman trailer breakdown. So sit back, enjoy. Let us unpack all of that for you. Next week is our season finale, where we will continue to wrap up those 300 films that we kind of curated down to about 105 films, I believe. So we will have part 2 of that segment next week. After episode 75, which will be our technical season finale, we decided we are going to brave the movie theaters because
Just for you.
Just for you.
We're putting our lives on the line.
Content.
Finally, we'll have a review special of Chris Nolan's next epic, Tenet, which is actually really, we mean it, being released. So, fingers crossed, guys.
Barring cataclysms.
Because they could just do it all again and fuck us over and say, theaters are closed
isn't
again.
that Tenet, though? Reversing time?
They
could do it all again.
They could. Your puns are actually making a lot of sense this morning.
Right? It's the heightened coffee and the fact that I got maybe 7.5 hours of sleep last night.
7.9, baby. Yeah.
Man, you guys.
He's got to one up me
You guys
about
are fortunate.
I only know because it's timed on my CPAP. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Well, I'm excited for this episode because it's like Mad Max beyond DC Fandome.
Right. It's funny.
I love Thunderdome.
It's funny, though, that this was called DC Fandome, and then the WWE decided to take over the Amway Center in Orlando for the foreseeable future and made like a permanent set, and they're calling it Thunderdome. Yeah, it's actually
Thunderdome.
pretty good idea.
But unless they have the Lord Humongous, then it's
I know that. Well, maybe he'll be a new gimmick for a wrestler.
Just walk away.
Is Humongous still among us?
So guys, let's get right into it. DC Fandome was on for 11 hours yesterday. I watched the entire thing from 10 a.m.
Jealous.
to 9 p.m. There were parts of it that were fantastic and parts where I just was like, can I go to CVS real quick?
Can I go pee?
Can I go pee? Definitely was able to take some bathroom breaks. So
Meanwhile, I was ironically in a comic book store and could not even look at my phone because it was so busy. I was like,
Eric and I were talking about this while we were thinking about you and the fact that you work at a comic shop and that Wade really should have a TV upstairs because this would have been
that
like
displays things. Yeah,
this would have been like the perfect thing to have on in a comic shop during the day.
yeah, but we're not GameStop.
But to be fair though, is that I don't think you want people to just kind of freeze on the floor and just go, oh.
Well, especially not during a pandemic. Like if it wasn't during a pandemic, I'd say it might be a cool thing, or like have like an event and come watch it down here.
Like there's no rule against me not being on my phone between like customers, but at the same time, I'm playing the music for my phone for the store. So every time I did play the Justice League trailer just because I was like, this is the Snyder Cut. I got to fucking watch this one or else nobody's going to stop screaming at me in my messages all day. Because it wasn't just you guys. It was like other people are like, are you watching the DC stuff? I know you like nerdy things. Come on. And I was like, I'm at work.
I was also
great,
at
though.
work, Brittany. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
But I did play the trailer and somebody was like, the music changed. And I'm like, shh, it's the trailer.
Hallelujah. Anyway, so no rants and raves this week, no permanent minute. Let's get right into DC's big convention-like event, and that's really what it felt like, guys. Like, for me, getting to watch the whole thing, they managed to somehow capture a convention atmosphere without actually having to leave your couch, and I thought that was really cool. Are you guys shocked? I know you didn't get to watch the whole thing, but you still got to watch the bits and pieces that were important. Are you guys impressed with how well DC was able to pull this off?
I'm actually kind of surprised that they did as long an event as they did. I mean, with panels and the trailers and all that, because you think that they would have just maybe dropped the trailers here and there, maybe built up a little bit of hype for each of the things, but they went all in. They just threw everything on the table, and I do respect them for that.
They were like, oh, Comic-Con's canceled this year? Boom, 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 boom. I was hit in the face as many times as Batman hit that one dude in the trailer. I know we'll get to it, but like just seeing my phone kept like blowing up and I couldn't get to it. I was just like, oh my God, amazing things are happening.
Well, it was cool because, you know, you had all the big events like the Snyder Cut, like Wonder Woman, like the Batman, which was probably the highlight of the night for everybody. But then you had some really great panels mixed in. Like they had a women of color being like bosses. That was the whole thing, and talking about like, you know, being on these shows like The Flash, like Batwoman. What's that show that they're rebooting?
Static Shock?
Static Shock is getting a reboot.
Oh wow!
They had a whole thing about
what is it? Static? Oh.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, I get to grab my trash can lid outside and jump on it again. I'm so excited.
I actually, a few months ago, I got cred from a younger kid who is black, and he was like, "Yeah, nobody knows about Static Shock." I was like, "Yeah, I know about Static Shock."
You mean my boy Virgil?
Like I watched the show a little bit when I was younger. And
Virgil
he's like, "You're the only person who's ever known it."
It was great. It was just such a cool event. They had Jim Lee. You know, like I wasn't a fan of it, but I like some people I think would find it cool, like Jim Lee, like editing people's fan art like with them. I thought that was kind of like I don't know. I wouldn't want somebody fucking around with my art, but that's just me.
Jim Lee's popular enough that he's like, you can try. You can try to be me, but
exactly. And then there was like, okay, there were a couple boring things put in like here and there. They had the Wonder Woman cast play like a version of Werewolf that they played on set, and like I'm sure it was really cool for them on set in between takes, like when they had nothing else to do, but like for the viewer watching,
awkward.
It was awkward and weird.
Like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, or their own game, like where they pretend to be a werewolf.
No, like One Night Werewolf, like they called it Werewolf 1984. Same thing, same game though.
Oh,
yeah, it was weird. It was weird. But other than that, it was just it was a successful event, and definitely better than anything that San Diego Comic-Con tried to do at home, which felt very, not to say that this wasn't produced, but San Diego Comic-Con at home felt very overproduced.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Let's get into the first big trailer breakdown, and that is for Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984. Before we break it down real quick, go through the stills and stuff, what did you guys think just watching it?
So it lowered my enthusiasm a little bit because Cheetah did not look good. I was a little iffy about Kristen Wiig being cast as Cheetah. You know, I consider her more of a comedic actor, but once again, I was willing to give her a chance. And she seems fine in her live action role and everything. I'm fine with that. But one of the fastest ways to take me out of a movie, of a superhero movie, is to have CGI heroes fighting CGI monsters. And I mean, Cheetah just did not look good to me. I mean, obviously they can still tweak it, do add-ons and such like that, and I know I'm not alone in this thinking that Cheetah just did not look good.
Matt says never go full Cheetah. Stay half Cheetah.
I'll let you go in a second, Brady. I just reminded Rob and I were kind of making fun of it a little bit. We both were like, the CG in Cats looked better than the Cheetah CG right now.
So what you're saying is we have to like cut the trailer scene with Jellicoe.
Wonder Woman 1984, Cats edition.
McCavity shows up and it's just like, I'm the true bad guy here. Thanos, move over. I really like the trailer, but I definitely preferred Kristen Wiig when she was just in her like normal outfit, because she gave off, you know, still Cheetah vibes, and you're just like, this is so interesting. As far as her being a comedic actor, like there's a lot of comedians that do dramatic roles really well, so yeah. I'm still willing to give her the chance, and I'm actually more excited to see how she's going to portray it, because I feel like when people do an unexpected casting for something, like it can either go one way or the other, and I feel like this one will be like oddly spot on, and people will be like, wow, I never would have guessed to, you know, bring her on as Cheetah.
Yeah.
And they only give you 2 quick shots of her in CG, and it's just during that fight where she's being thrown around like a rag doll. So, like, it could also be the physics in that fight scene. Like, we're not seeing a full reveal of, like, a really important dialogue or moment. That'll really dictate the CG.
Right.
But I also don't like when they do, like, full CG characters when they're interacting with like non-CG characters. So like some of the things I didn't like about Infinity War and Endgame were like how they made the Black Order look like
Completely
super CG.
CG.
And I was just like, it would have been cooler if you did practical. So I get it. But at the same time, they purposely only show you a little bit in that trailer. So I'm tentatively looking forward to it. I want to see how it's done.
So I thought about this last night after seeing Cheetah, and I came to the conclusion that I think the CG looks best when the characters aren't moving quickly and fighting quickly. And that was because I was thinking about Infinity War and Endgame, and I'm like, I don't think they ever like move really quickly, which always takes me out of it. And like, this is obviously a computer graphic that, you know, so on and so forth.
We also have to remember this movie's not finished, and that CG is definitely not a final shot of the CG, which is in any trailer.
Was Wonder Woman supposed to come out this summer?
It is, but it was, to be fair, but that does then give them more time to finish. And this trailer could have been the trailer that they were going to show before the pandemic anyway.
I'm hoping that's the case because, as I said, like whenever Cheetah was on, like was doing that whole fight, I was just like, oh man, this doesn't look good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's funny that I mentioned Rob and I joking on the chat about cats because it's like he has radar or something from deep in the other part of the greater Philadelphia area, because the minute I said that, he walked down the stairs. Hi, Rob.
Hi, my ears were burning.
Rob, one of our awesome social media coordinators and contributors, is here. He's going to just chill and maybe butt in on the conversation every now and then, which we are fine with. Let's get to breaking down the trailer. We immediately see they're going to return to Themyscira, which is, I think, pretty fucking cool. I love everything about that. I love Connie Nielsen. I love Robin Wright. So what we see here looks like an awesome arena and what looks like their version of the Olympic Games. Like, I think they're calling them the Amazon Games. Not pictured here is a young Diana. This is going to be...
It's a flashback.
Yeah. I love the whole stuff at Themyscira in Wonder Woman 1, so I think this is pretty great.
Yeah. And we know she's not allowed to return because she joined the world of men. So it would be weird if she did come back just to be like, oh, sorry, it's the Olympics. You know, every 4 years I got to come home. Dude, I like how you pulled up the next picture, Ride the Lightning. Ever since the first trailer, I'm just like, what is she doing? She's lassoing the lightning. This is amazing. So I like that we got like a longer image of it this time. And I was just like, she's wild. She is a god.
I was expecting this shot to be really fucking cheesy, and it is just so
it's just cool.
Badass, her riding the lightning with the whip.
Hey, if Zeus can throw it, she can whip it.
Exactly.
Whip
so
it good.
For some of these, I actually have Den of Geek and Screen Rant's breakdowns up because they have some of the character names. So in one of these shots, we have Maxwell Lord, who's played by why am I going to freaking forget?
The Mandalorian?
Pedro Pascal.
Thank you, Pedro Pascal, delivering his big message to the world. Are we convinced that him being a villain? He's like almost a little bit too pretty boy.
Oh, that's exact. It's 1984.
Yeah, about to say.
Pretty boy villain.
It's the 80s, man. This is all
He's
about
the perfect 80s villain already, and I haven't even heard him talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 80s. It's all about the slick, the slick businessman that looks
who
looks
definitely
good.
does coke in the background.
Heard him talk.
You do hear him talk.
Yeah,
I just mean like just before we only had stills of him before this trailer. So like even just seeing him, I was like 80s villain. Give me that zoot suit.
And I guess he's going to make people's dreams come true as long as, because he's got the dream stone or something like that. And I guess that's how Cheetah in this next still, she wants to have raw power.
Unlimited
power. So this is our first shot of Kristen Wiig before she gets superpowers. And Matt, you were saying not too convinced yet about her possibly being able to play a villain.
I mean, I was fine with her live action stuff. I was a little unsure about the initial casting. I mean, seeing her in live action, I was fine with that. I mean, I was like, all right, she's doing a decent job that I'm fine with it.
The first shot of her in those glasses really gives me that like Poison Ivy vibe before she becomes Poison Ivy in like the 90s Batman films. You know what I mean?
It's unfortunate. Connection. It's unfortunate the two not positive connections I had with that shot, because I thought of that and I thought of Jamie Foxx in The Amazing Spider-Man.
I still have never watched
Spider-Man 2, and I'm like, ooh,
that was disappointing.
Ooh, it was.
He deserved better. I don't know if I mean Jamie Foxx or Electro. Both deserved better.
I was thinking of Andrew Garfield.
Oh, that too. R.I.P. He's still alive. But I mean,
oh my God.
R.I.P. to his Spider-Man career.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Brittany's like, Andrew Garfield's not dead Yet.
In this next still, we have the first face-off. At least we're assuming it's the first face-off between Diana and Cheetah. This is where it kind of convinced me that she's gonna kind of be in the role. She's got serious enough. The tension's there. This shot actually reminds me a little bit of like the bank shot from Justice League a little bit. Same kind of decor.
I thought the first face-off was Nick Cage and John Travolta.
I hate you.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
You know what I can't stand from Face Off?
Peaches.
That movie?
What's that?
Like one of the final scenes before, like they're doing that fight, and then for some reason they go from like this one area straight to the roof, and there's like no in between. Like they didn't show how they got there. Watch it again. It's just
I'd have to watch it.
Every time it's on TV, I'm like, how do they get to the roof? they lost it in editing.
Throughout the trailer, we get a whole bunch of shots of Chris Pine coming back.
I still want to know how the hell that happened.
Well, that's going to be, I'm guessing that is Diana's dream.
Yeah.
Is for him to be back. And
Dreamstone.
we see Chris Pine in some awesome 80s outfits. The red rubber suit, someone made a comparison. It's like, oh, he's going full Wrath of Khan outfits from the 80s. And apparently he's such a good pilot that he immediately learns how to fly an F-16.
Yeah, you know, it's all the same technology. We really haven't changed.
From 1918.
World War I planes are just like modern day aircraft.
Yeah.
Right? Stealthcraft, whatever.
There was some possible, I don't know if they're hints or whatever you want to call them, rumors that this F-16 could actually become Diana's invisible jet.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case, but it would be really fucking cool.
She can dream that it turns invisible and then boom.
Oh, shit.
Dude, any plot hole in this movie will be
Rob's
fixed
face
immediately.
was just like,
No. Just because she did say at one point that, like, how are we going to get through it with, like, oh, so sonar. They mentioned sonar.
Or there's radar, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's no problem. I'm like, there you go, invisible jet.
You should come over here and then just, like, steal my mic when you want to talk.
No, this is better. I like this. I like the
shouting in the
butting.
background.
I did like that little line when she's like, oh, yeah, I should have told you about radar or something. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
This shot is kind of perfect at making Pedro Pascal look like a fucking enemy douche guy. Because there he is. Apparently, is he the president?
He can dream it, dude.
He's dreaming he's
did
the
you miss
president.
this?
I'm still missing it, apparently.
This is why 1984, for like when they announced that for Wonder Woman, people were like, that's such a weird thing to happen, but it's all like dream reality related. So it's like, what if this movie never happens?
Nightmare
What
on
if it
Elm
does?
Street 2.
3.
2.
3 is the dream.
Is it 3?
Pretty sure, right?
No, the Dream Warriors.
Dream
right?
Warriors, I want to say, is 3.
Yeah, because that's when it got weird.
Fuck you guys.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't let you embarrass yourself to the audience.
I've been watching a dude doing kill counts on YouTube with the Nightmare movies, so I am confident in saying 3.
Fair enough. Here's the first not so great CG shot, and apparently even Gal Gadot thinks the same thing because she says her name. She's like, "What did you do?" To be fair, I don't like the CG cheetah suit, but I really fucking hate this gold Wonder Woman suit. It just looks awkward.
The wings when she like break like the wings breaking off. I was
cool.
I don't know. I thought the CG looked.
I think you guys aren't understanding the concept of dream here. Like a lot of this movie is going to be like really weird and outlandish because it's all.
That's fair,
weird
but they
stuff.
still could have made a cooler gold suit that didn't look
We'll
like
find out why.
like a Ruby's $25
Maybe
Halloween
she was supposed
costume.
to. Maybe this is a critique on 80s cartoons and their toys. Their armor was weird as shit in
Brittany,
the 80s. I'm
she's
just saying.
fucking Goldar.
See, there you go.
She's fucking Goldar. And she just needs to get a snout.
Basically,
After 10,000 years, I'm free.
it's to sell more toys, kids.
And there's a little bit of a bigger shot. I don't know.
You know what? She-Ra does a cat lady much better. You know?
Damn right.
No, let me put it this way. When I saw that,
Hi,
I thought,
Adora.
No, I said
Hey, Adora.
that doesn't look great. Maybe we need a more lit up shot. But like, I think of like CGI fur suits and whatnot. I don't know. I don't think cats.
The butthole
block
cut.
That out. I think Beast.
Oh, yeah.
First Class.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Phenomenal costume.
Even Kelsey Grammer's, and I hate to even mention the movie, but X-Men Last Stand.
I will say that was probably one of the most perfect casting choices ever and one of the shittiest movies ever.
It's so unfortunate, right?
For an old older beast.
Yes, for an older beast, absolutely.
And speaking of the gold suit, there it is. I don't know, man.
Like the suit itself looks okay to me. Like
I think it's the helmet throwing me off. I don't know.
It strays away from the overall. We're used to the red, white, and blue, the stars and stripes of Wonder Woman. It kind of throws you off and saying, okay, do we, we get.
Oh my
that.
God, wait, no, she just went full Amazonian.
Yeah, that's
Never go full Amazonian. That's it. She was like, Greek goddess mode.
That does it for the Wonder
Oh my God, it's
Woman.
Halo.
We're going to get there. Wonder Woman 1984 breakdown. Listen, I'm still excited for the movie. Obviously, they have a couple more months to perfect it. I think we're still getting this on October 2nd. So we'll see. I guess that'll be one of the first things we do when we're back from hiatus.
Just in time for everybody to get the Halloween costumes for this. You can have the fursuit and you can have the amazing gold armor for Halloween. Just in time.
I don't know how many people are going to be out.
People are going to buy the fursuit and turn it into Catra.
I bought the cheetah suit so we can yiff together, guys.
All right, let's move from Themyscira and whatever city Diane is living in Wonder Woman 1984, back to Gotham City. This was a shock. I knew that they were making a new game, but WB Montreal announced Gotham Knights, which, holy shit, looks amazing. I initially thought that this was a direct sequel to Arkham Knight, which it is not.
It's not?
No, it's not. It's a standalone story.
Okay.
It's funny, though, because at the end of Arkham Knight, a very similar thing happens. Bruce destroys everything.
But there was, and I'll get to that in a moment, there was a part in the Gotham Knights trailer where I was like, that didn't happen in Arkham Knight, when he mentioned something. So.
Yeah. So this is a standalone story. Batman is dead. Bruce is dead. And now it's up to Robin, Red Hood, Batgirl, and Nightwing to kind of keep Gotham together. The actual just trailer for it got me stoked, and I wasn't expecting gameplay trailer at all. This was just awesome.
I agree. It's like the Batman game I've been wanting, because you want to do it co-op also. So having that ability and then being able to choose from the 4 different proteges, because normally you get stuck with just Nightwing happens to be also in this game and he'll assist you with missions, or maybe you get to play as him for a little bit. But to have the choice to be I want to be Batgirl now, I want to be Red Robin, I want to be, fucking Red Hood, who I almost called by his actual name. I was Jason Todd. Oh man, it's gonna be great.
Matt, what did you think when you saw the trailer for this and then the gameplay footage?
So I did enjoy it. And now the thing that kind of caught me off guard with as I said, where I was like, how is this? Because I thought the same thing, that it was a sequel to Arkham Knight. But when he said that, Gotham PD hasn't since Gordon died, and I'm like, Gordon didn't die at the end of Arkham Knight. He was very much alive. So something must have happened, after the game. But now that you told me it's a standalone thing, that makes a little more sense. Because also the other thing I was thinking of, at the end of the game, everybody knows Bruce Wayne is Batman. He basically, it's announced on television. So I'm like, people would have figured out who his proteges are immediately. Because oh yeah, that orphan dude who was always around Bruce, that's probably Robin or Knight.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So now that you told me it's standalone, that makes way more sense in my mind of okay, that's how they can still go out and do their thing. I always loved the Batman games, the Arkham games, because the beat 'em up gameplay mechanics was some of the finest stuff ever made. And also I loved going around Gotham as Batman, obviously, and getting the drop on villains and thugs alike. So I'm looking forward to this game. I want to see I want to see more of how it plays. I am excited. I will get it, obviously. I'm a big sucker for Batman, probably my favorite superhero, period. And this is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, the gameplay I'm really excited for. It looks like it flows really well. And it obviously it's the same as the previous Batman games where I can be up here and drop down and grab somebody real quick. But I like how they changed each of the fighting styles to fit the character. Mm-hmm. So as much as I know I really want to play as Nightwing, because I just love Nightwing a lot.
You and Eric.
I fucking I like how the way they introduced them was with their own neon cutout background, which was their logo. I'm like, this is so cool. I feel this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on another level. Who are you gonna pick? Who's your favorite? Obviously it's Mikey, but what if I go Raphael this time?
Is Red Hood killing people, by the way?
For sure, 100%.
He's shooting, and I'm like,
that's why it says from something to vigilante, from vigilante to hero, from hero to knights. So I'm just like, oh, I get it. It's touching on each of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the fight play.
That'll work.
It is fight play,
I'm fine,
though.
I'm
It is
fine with
fight
that
play.
term.
We play fight. No, I'm excited for the different fighting styles in the gameplay because just seeing their introduction, like entrances, I guess. Like Nightwing when he spins and does all those kicks. I'm just like, this is so Nightwing out of the comics. I love him. Yeah.
I love that they gave Barbara those kind of like the pikes.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked, and that leads me kind of to my next question. When you guys get this game, who are you gonna main first?
I don't know. That's kind of tough. What I might do is I might try each of them at first and see who kind of grooves with me a little bit more, and go for
I like it. I put down Batgirl or Nightwing because like I want to play Batgirl because it's like, oh cool, I get the one female character. But at the same time, I really love Nightwing.
Yeah.
And how he fights. And he has the batons, she has the Eskrima sticks, so like they pretty much go hand in hand. If she gets the motorcycle though,
They have the motorcycles.
Sorry,
Well, she also glides.
I know.
They show her gliding, so I was a little like enthused about that.
Who else gets
Who
to
was it that
glide?
teleported? Like somebody like
I think that was Nightwing.
was that Nightwing?
Yeah.
Because like they did that thing where it was like they moved the cursor to another building and boom, the character was like right there.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I'd have
He's
to
so
watch the trailer
mystical
again.
that you can't ever see him travel to a location. Enemies never know. He just appears, so they're like, oh, he must teleport too. And he's like, no, I'm just really fast and gymnastic.
I got to go with Batgirl because I freaking love Barbara Gordon. I have a huge statue, Babs, of Batgirl. She's one of my favorite DC characters. Definitely gonna main her first. And I just have always loved the purple and yellow aesthetic.
That's
yeah.
the best suit
It,
she
it
has.
really is.
The motorcycle suit.
Yeah, I can't wait to ride like the Tumbler like motorcycles they showed in the trailer. Those look awesome. Hopefully they're not as integral to the game as the Batmobile was in Arkham Knight. I know some people had complaints about that. I didn't, but I know it was a major complaint. Anyway, that is Gotham Knights. I believe they said 2021 for that. So
Yeah, they did the question marks too, which makes you think, ooh, Riddler. maybe? I like how they did that though.
Yeah,
Or no, that was Batman.
that was Batman.
Sorry, ooh, never mind.
There
We're
was
getting
so
ahead.
ahead
much
of us, Brittany.
There was so
Never
much
mind.
Batman related content at Fandome. It is hard to kind of keep it all together. I will say real quick before we move on to the next thing, this is also one of the first games that I've seen revealed at either an Xbox or PlayStation event that looked next gen. Like I thought the graphics looked incredible, not just from the trailer, but
Yeah.
the actual gameplay. So that has me excited as well. I don't think this is coming out for last gen consoles. So
Sucks to suck, PS4.
Oh,
Even though
damn,
there's four
sweet burn.
players in this.
I can't wait to play co-op with you.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, great, another awesome co-op game I can play with my brother. But by then, he might have moved somewhere else. So I'll have to play with you guys.
Let's
I don't have a PlayStation 5. I won't have one.
I'll try to have one. Depends on money then.
Let's move on to a film that has been alive, dead, brought back, dead again, and alive, and now it seems like it's really moving forward. That is the Ezra Miller Flash film that they haven't titled Flashpoint yet, but for all intents and purposes is Flashpoint. Not a whole lot. Ezra Miller's still a fucking weirdo.
Didn't he like punch somebody?
He
like
choked a fan
choked, that's
or
right,
a
I'm sorry.
friend, and like there's been no investigation. So I'm very like
was it real? Was it a joke? Was it this? Was it
the
that?
fact that there's been no
Was
investigation.
the fan trying to attack him? Like, we
yeah,
don't know enough
there's
about
so
the
much
scenario.
about that I don't know about.
Because there's a lot of like actors and stuff that are being like, they'll have to like, unfortunately, hit paparazzi or different things, and you're like, should you have done that? No. Did you need to? Probably. So I don't know. I don't know enough.
One of the biggest reveals from the Flash panel was he's getting a new suit, not this mechanical like bio thing looking from Justice League, and I think like the quick scene that he had in Batman vs Superman. This looks a lot more faithful to the comics, very organic. What do you guys think about this at first sight?
I like it because the other one from the previous films, I feel like was his prototype. You literally see him like have it all together, and it's like he's building it. So, I mean, it makes sense that we didn't feel 100% about the first costume. I feel like at the time they made it really like Injustice-y, if you've played those
Yes.
games. Because I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, cool, this is like an Injustice sort of outfit. This one I like so far, even though it's mostly silhouetted. It just looks sleeker, a little less armored. But it's just like in the comics, when he taps into Speed Force more, learns about how the Speed Force works, he adapts his costume to deal with that. So I feel like at first he has it so armored and padded because he doesn't want to burn up.
Yeah,
like
that
he
makes
would,
sense.
you know, if
Yeah.
he was a shuttle in outer space, just from the speed he goes. So now that he, especially with the events of Flashpoint, will understand what, you know, going so fast you might, you know, alter reality and time, would deal with, he can streamline his suit.
Indeed.
That's how I feel.
Oh, well then. No, I do want to see the suit in more light though. I do like kind of the silhouette and all that, but I really do want to see it like in full.
Yeah, because this is
full
just
glory.
concept
Yeah,
art.
it's concept art. I mean, so anything can change.
Concept art always looks 80 times better than the finished product.
Oh yeah,
That's so true.
Video games are like, this is going to be a massive, and then you're like, doot doot.
So I know why they changed it, based on the fact that if you watched Flash on the CW when he went back on Crisis on Infinite Earths, he runs into Barry Allen on the TV series, and he's like, "Oh wow, like that's you know, it's a cool cosplay and whatnot," and he's just like, "Oh wow, it's so breathable and whatnot." And he's getting like all these ideas and whatnot, and he goes on to say, "Oh, what are you, some like Flash like fanboy or something like that?" And he goes, "Flash." Huh, that's a cool name. And that's where he gets his name from, because in Justice League, you never actually
That's
hear
true.
the name Flash. So that's the TV series going from...
That's the way to justify this
that.
TV series.
And they said in that panel.
Bruce makes it for him. Let's take a look at this awesome piece of concept art, because there's been so much talk about this happening. A bunch of websites reported the fact that he had already been cast, but this is the clearest bit of evidence. In this concept art, Ezra Miller's Flash in his new suit is fighting alongside Michael Keaton's Batman. And this pretty much has to confirm that he's in it. I mean, right after they show this promo image too, they show him, they start playing the Keaton Batman music.
I mean, then why not just announce Michael Keaton's been officially cast? I don't like, why do this coy little, here's our concept art with Michael Keaton.
Because he wants to be dramatic. Or they haven't actually signed the contract yet, but he's like right there.
I mean, why show that and not Batfleck?
How embarrassing would that be, though, then, if they didn't sign the contract and Michael Keaton's like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do this.
He shows up in his Birdman outfit. I'm Birdman now. I like it. I feel like it's going to be like, you know, when we were waiting on Disney to confirm that, what's his face? Ewan McGregor was back for like Obi-Wan. Like, we all knew it was almost there, and then he like walks out on stage. So it's just that final step. I feel like maybe they're waiting just for another point to reveal it fully. And since it's still in concept art stage, you know, they haven't filmed for this film either. So
yeah, they haven't even started filming.
Yeah,
this
they don't
yet.
want to put too much out because I think the pandemic, and they don't know when it will be in theaters. So they don't want to get everybody so hyped and reveal him a year before it's eventually released, you know, or 2 years.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Well, we'll see. Either way, I mean, there were like so many hints thrown out that I'm like, okay, like it's time. Make the announcement. God damn it.
Yeah.
I know this is something that Rob really wants to talk about. During this panel, they announced that because they've been doing it in the CW shows, that the new DC cinematic multiverse, which is, you know, like Earth 1, Earth 64, whatever you want to call them, will be birthed from this Flashpoint movie. How do we feel about having yet another multiverse?
I mean, I'd be more concerned with anybody who thought it wasn't going to happen with Flashpoint. As soon as they said they were doing the Flash movie, and then it started pointing towards, like, this is going to be Flashpoint Paradox, people were like, okay, cool, so you already are going to have the multiverse in Crisis. Now it's basically going to happen, because there's no way you can do Flashpoint without creating or referring to multiverses, because he actually alters reality. Like, whether or not you consider it the same universe but a different timeline or time stream, it's still two separate realities that are existing. So, for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, duh. Like, that's what the Flash does. He causes the multiverse in some ways. But.
Yeah, this was always going to be the ending point of the DC movies and such like that, because the multiverse is like a huge part of comics and other DC media and all that. So even the animated movies, like it's a very big thing in there. So in Flashpoint set off like the more recent DC animated movies, and it's spoiler alert. I'll pause for a second. It's how it ends. Is Flash essentially resetting the entire universe, and they use that to basically, all right, what new shit can we do? And that's what I think the movies are going to do. at that point is, all right, Flashpoint happens, so we're gonna do whatever we want now.
Yeah,
And so yeah.
I think we talked about this when we talked about DC animation. Flashpoint is one of the few movies that I saw. So I'm excited to see what they do with an actual film, and hopefully Ezra Miller can really pull it off. We'll see how it goes. Rob, did you want to touch real quick on Flashpoint?
See, I think with Flashpoint, I don't know if this movie is going to be per se Flashpoint, but it could be Flashpoint-esque. It does have that with the whole thing of, you're potentially bringing in Michael Keaton's Batman
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan
I did not know
as
that.
Thomas Wayne playing Flashpoint Batman, who fucking murders
My
people.
God, that's amazing. If that's the if that's what comes of it, then I will be so okay. I want, honestly, they need to reset this whole freaking universe. I'm sorry. I get pissed off with Justice League and Batman versus Superman and whatnot. I'm not fans of those movies. And I know it hits on a lot of people, but
We can keep Wonder Woman.
yeah.
And Shazam, come on, people.
No. Hey, whoa. Hold on a second.
He's a
I'm
Philly
fine.
treasure now.
I am fine with Shazam. Shazam was a good movie, but there's a couple of different things that they could just totally turn around and say, okay, you know what? Let's wipe it clean. Because we've talked about this in the chat. DC sucks on real life movies, like real action movies. Everything else that they do is pretty on the dot.
Yeah.
With some of the comics, obviously, yes, but a lot of the comics are good. The TV shows, some of them are pretty good, minus Batwoman.
Everything on HBO is going to be
Everything on HBO is going to be
Swamp
great.
Thing, Doom Patrol. Watch those.
Obviously they had Titans. They had a little bit of a bump, a learning curve and whatnot in the DC universe, but but the game's freaking awesome. So why can't they figure out the live action movies?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because all the writers on the Way Better projects are there, and they're
Yeah.
not on the movies.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the animated universe.
Yeah,
Freaking phenomenal.
that's what we've said for years, man. They could just get the writers from the animated universe to write the same exact film.
Does anybody else want to touch on anything with Flashpoint before we move on? I know, I wasn't as excited about this film until I kind of heard them talking about it, and it seems like it's going to be something pretty epic.
I'm excited for the storyline because I really like the Flashpoint paradox, and both in story form and how they've done it animated. But part of me is also they always pick the biggest storyline to do with some of these characters. And I get it, because we don't want another origin film for all these people, especially after they already showed up in Justice League. It's kind of counterintuitive. But I'm always I'm slightly worried whenever they do a really big story, because I've been hurt so much by Dark Phoenix. And every time a movie tries to do something really big.
I watched the end of that fucking movie. I wanted to scream.
I still haven't watched it.
I haven't watched
It was literally the ending to Last Stand, and I'm like, have you learned nothing?
I was the person who was when this movie comes out, I'm going to be first to see it at midnight. I was super excited. Unfortunately, I had to work or something that night, and I couldn't make it.
Unfortunately.
But then immediately, just the amount of people shitting on it and being why can't you do this right? It just dissuaded me so much, I never ended up seeing it. Which is sad, because I really like Sophie Turner.
So going off with that question, with that whole thing of the origin arms one, I know we're probably jumping ahead with going to the Snyder Cut. Do you think maybe, just maybe, Snyder Cut could be going into more of a Flash?
Well, Snyder said it. He said that Flash is going to have...
There are 4 parts.
There are 4 parts.
But how many members of the Justice League are there? There's more than 4. Oh no.
But that could be that could be a possibility that could affect. I'm more than likely it's not going to affect and pull a ripple
Yeah.
into the new movie, because they're not just. Let's be honest, DC's not going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to take what came of the Snyder Cut and pull it into our movies from now on.
I'm excited to see more
might,
of
but-
Cyborg and Flash in that,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they were so underdeveloped, especially Cyborg. That poor actor, man. He got so much crap for what he did for the character, but at the same time, he had 2 different directors telling him different ways to portray the character. So no, we didn't get the Teen Titans fun snarky Cyborg.
Well, it wasn't even the 2
Yeah.
directors, right? Ray Fisher has been the most outspoken of these actors about releasing the Snyder
he's
Cut.
like, please.
And has pretty much put Joss Whedon on like a burning what do you call it? Steak? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the thing is,
give Rob a mic and he just won't stop.
With what do you call it? With Cyborg, the original Cyborg, you have to understand is he wasn't all this snarky, fun loving in the cartoons, but it's more like he's a monster. He thinks that he's a monster, in which we see that in Justice League.
Yeah, the animated movies actually do the whole he thinks of himself as a monster.
It takes a long time for him to be okay with his existence.
To think that he's like a hero, and I think they went way, way, way too fast with that in Justice League.
Yeah, he was like, my dad's dead. I'm a monster.
Well, yeah, again, like that comes down to the issue. And let me see, no, we're not quite there yet. We will get there. We'll talk about that more later, but Joss Whedon turned what was supposed to be like a much darker film into kind of like this fast-paced, like nonsensical. Clips. Yeah. Oh, dude. It was
my man.
Oh my God.
We'll
anyway, we will talk about that. First, we're going to talk about James Gunn's move over to DC, maybe bringing some faith back to Suicide Squad. I decided not to break down the trailer for this because it wasn't really a trailer. It was like behind the scenes footage because they didn't get to film a lot. And it's hard to make out all of the awesome stuff besides Harley Quinn having an RPG, which...
It was more of a character reveal.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. So let's go down this awesome cast of characters and the actors who are playing them. What looks like is going to just be a total, like I said, redemption arc for this franchise. Fair warning, and I think this is maybe for all of us. I don't want to speak for anyone. I'm not familiar with a lot of the characters.
Yeah,
and you won't be because some of them don't exist.
Oh, well, there you go. So James Gunn made up some folks.
It's okay.
Polka Dot Man's real.
Yeah. Some of the weirder ones, like for sure will actually be real, but then there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know who that is in the background.
Only reason I knew Polka Dot Man was real is thanks to Lego Batman.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that whole scene, like Gentleman Ghost, like you're making some of those up. Nope, they're all real. Probably worth a Google.
Probably worth a Google. Okay, let's go down the list. Obviously, the big one, Margot Robbie is back as Harley. She looks like
Harley fucking Quinn.
That's right. Looks like a fucking badass in this. Like every single time that she had an RPG, I was like, the damage Harley can do with an RPG.
I wonder if this is pre or post Diamond in Birds of Prey. I wouldn't say it's pre.
Yeah?
Yeah, she wouldn't. I feel like Birds of Prey Harley wouldn't go back to that. But I don't know.
Amanda Waller doesn't exactly take no for an answer.
No, she does not.
But she doesn't have a bomb in her head then, or I guess around her neck. Whatever. No, I think
head.
I think had one.
Head.
Yeah, I thought the video game was the head. Yeah. Whatever.
Jai Courtney is back also as Captain Boomerang, who is going to get a lot of redemption because he was a fucking chump in David Ayer's film. Joel Kinnaman is back as Rick Flag. I like him as well. He played RoboCop in the failed RoboCop reboot.
He's in a lot of good stuff. He's in the Amazon show Hannah in the first season.
I haven't seen that.
As like her father figure / trainer. Oh my God.
I believe he was also in the final 2 seasons of House of Cards, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
One of the political shows he plays like a presidential contender, if I'm not mistaken.
He was in a really good like murder mystery show
too. I think I know what you're talking about then. The one where I think it is House of Cards because he's just like, oh, you're delaying the election in the state or whatever like that.
Viola Davis, obviously back as Amanda Waller. This is exciting. I didn't know he was in this movie for some reason. John Cena as a douchey Captain America.
Hold on a second. You didn't know that John Cena was... That was like one of the big builds of this movie. I was saying, yeah, we got John Cena.
Did not know that, apparently.
That's going to be the whole
time is here. My time is now. Playing Peacemaker, who he refers to as a douchey Captain America. Is he an actual character from DC?
Yes, he is.
There you go. Pete Davidson. There's a lot of, I think, SNL representation in this. Is playing Blackguard, who I, again, know nothing about. As James Gunn does, he had to put Michael Rooker in this movie, who is playing Savant. Sean Gunn, his brother, also he has to bring him wherever he goes, is playing Weasel. Idris Elba. So
love him.
Obviously, people thought that he was going to be replacing Will Smith as Deadshot. That is not the case. He is playing Bloodsport. This is the casting that I think threw everyone for a loop. Peter Capaldi is in this film, the 12th Doctor. He is playing the Thinker.
He's a thinker.
He is a thinker. He barely spoke during this whole thing. And then like the 1 minute he did, he was like thanking the cast for being incredible. And I think Pete Davidson made a joke, like, leave it for the British guy to like make us all look like idiots.
Iconic.
And then he was like, that's because I'm the thinker. Brittany, you're better at pronunciations than I am for Polka Dot Man.
Let me look over.
David
Dastmalchian.
Thank you. As Polka Dot Man. Is this for real?
Polka Dot Man is real.
Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, you never heard of Ratcatcher 1?
Nope. Flula Borg as Javelin.
The Borg. Could you imagine having that as a last name? Oh my God.
Resistance is futile. Nathan Fillion, who I guess I also didn't know was in this, as Detachable Kid, TDK.
TDK. I love Nathan Fillion.
Well, Nathan Fillion's actually in all of his movies.
He's not in Guardians.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He actually does a voice.
Son of a bitch.
He was in Guardians as a side character in the jail.
He either does just a voice or it actually is.
So
like
he should have been Nova, and I'm still mad about that.
And then Mei Ling NG? No one?
Well, normally I know it's like NGI would be Gi, but
Let's say they forgot to put the I and we'll call her Mei Ling Ni as Mongol, who I definitely know. And then Alice Braga as Sulsoria. This is like, I don't know whether to be excited or just like, this is such a loony cast of characters.
but that's Suicide Squad, man.
I do wonder though, like, why not just recast Deadshot? Because obviously Will Smith is too expensive. And,
Maybe they do, and it's a surprise.
because I mean, Deadshot is one of the like must-have Suicide Squad members, and obviously this is thanks to the animated movies that I think this now that I'm like, you have to have Deadshot. He is like a critical part of this whole team. So
Yeah, if they don't have him, they miss their shot, and he never does. So
they're not throwing away their shot.
Shame. Shame.
iconic.
Oh boy. James Gunn during this panel said that filming has wrapped on the movie, so this is all just like getting visuals done. He also said that this is bigger than either Guardians film that he's ever done. I don't know if he has to say that because he's also making Guardians 3 and he has to hype up DC a little bit. I don't know.
When does Guardians 3 come out?
Not for a while.
Yeah, I think we got a while.
That's so sad because I just realized today while I was taking a shower, I was like, wait, every time a Guardians of the Galaxy movie has come out, I've gone to see it with a date. So I was just like,
Need to find
cool.
a date.
I was like, when's my next relationship going to happen? And I was like, Guardians 3 postponed. And I'm like, oh God.
Forever alone.
Forever.
Apparently it's like a 1972 war film, even though it's not in the 70s, but that's what they're calling it. And apparently like there's genitalia that explodes. They had to throw that in there.
Sounds
they
exactly like every
said that.
Suicide
It sounds like Suicide Squad.
comic.
Yeah. Speaking of every Suicide Squad comic, James Gunn said that this is not a sequel to the film. This is more of a sequel and kind of love story to the original run of Suicide Squad books.
So, I mean, that could explain then the lack of Deadshot and all that, and that'd be maybe a character you bring in later in the movie or at the very end of like, hey, we hear there's this guy who like never misses a shot.
Yeah.
We're going to grab him and bring him into your team.
Yeah.
Because that's, as I said, like I'm very like skeptical about the Deadshot, and I'm curious to see how they're going to spin this whole, like, it's not a sequel to the movie, but everybody's going to be thinking about the first Suicide Squad movie. Like that's exactly what everybody's going to be thinking about. So I'll be curious how they walk this tightrope.
And that's the question too, though, right? Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I actually don't hate the first Suicide Squad movie. I like the soundtrack a lot, and I liked it for like us getting Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I liked how they did Deathstroke. Like I like specific things about it.
You mean Deadshot?
Oh my God, I said Deathstroke. Deadshot. Oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
sorry.
wait, have I been saying it?
No,
wrong?
no. It was Deadshot. That's embarrassing. Fuck, now where was I going? I think it gets a lot more crap than it needs to, because as far as the DC films are concerned, it was actually one of the better ones.
That's
a low bar.
Yeah, I know it's a low bar, but like they're behind bars.
Somebody said it best about the first Suicide Squad movie. It was just like, tell me what the main villain's name was, and I'm just like,
Enchantress, technically.
not her brother. What's his name?
Yeah, but
Not a fucking clue.
Exactly. Nobody can
I
remember.
don't care about him.
Here's
but,
the deal.
Like, Enchantress, they turned her into the bad
I'm
guy.
with Brittany. I don't think it's a good film, but I think that there are good parts of it that are in there, like Margot, like Will.
Yes.
I loved Will Smith's Deadshot. I loved the scenes with that had Batman and like getting Deadshot's backstory a little bit. There are some good parts of this movie. Having said that, like listen, James Gunn makes good movies. I'm not saying Guardians 2 is anything spectacular because the more I watch it, the more I don't like it. But Guardians 1 is one of the best Marvel films they made. Rob, what did you want to say?
I know why you don't like Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Jared
God.
Leto.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Jared
yeah,
Leto
that's-
and his cult can go fall off a fucking cliff.
No, that's fine.
They're on an island. That's a little hard. But I know what
They
you were
have cliffs
saying.
on islands, Brittany.
Not high enough ones. But anyway, I know what you were going to say about
There's
James
rocks
Gunn.
underneath.
James is gonna make a good
Oh,
film.
God.
For once, I'm not going to shame that because you're right. I think that James Gunn can't fuck up Suicide Squad.
I think it would be really hard to. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it's going to be really hard to fuck up Suicide Squad, but arguably.
I'm about to
first
say
one.
that's already happened, so let's not say you
Yeah,
can't
I don't
fuck
know.
up Suicide Squad.
But just like the
I still
Snyder
enjoy
cut,
watching
just
it.
like the Snyder cut, apparently there is a David Ayer cut of
Oh, yeah.
Suicide Squad that
That's
is
why
much better than
people
what
think
we
it
got.
also did bad because they, once again, they were like, "Oh, this is going too dark. We got to lighten it up." So like, you do have those moments where you're like, I'm fine with them cutting Jared Leto out.
The
for sure.
amount of subtle jabs during these 11 hours of content from DC at Jared Leto's Joker just warmed my heart.
He was not nice to his castmates.
No.
You can't be a dick in the business. People will continue to jab at you the rest of your life.
So that's it for Suicide Squad. Obviously, they didn't get to film a whole lot of it yet, so there wasn't a real trailer. I'm sure filming will start up again soon as production has started on other movies and TV shows again. Also, quick programming note, they kind of did a cool little 5-minute look at a really awesome Joker documentary that's available exclusively. We are not paid by them, but I have to say it because I want to watch it. It's exclusively on Apple TV right now. And it's called Joker Put on a Happy Face, and it's all about the Clown Prince of Crime.
It's funny because he wrote that in lipstick on the mirror in the most recent Joker film.
Yep.
Put on a happy face.
Definitely want to check that out for sure. It's the time. We've been talking about this a lot on the show, and we finally got to look at it. We are going to break down the Snyder Cut trailer. The one thing from this panel that I want to talk about before we break down the trailer, I thought it was really cool that Zack Snyder talked to two of the people that were behind the release of the Snyder Cut movement. I thought that was nice that he asked them about like why they started it and what their motivations were and the charity work that came through. They could have just done like, here's the Snyder Cut, but they actually made this panel into something.
He's like, I couldn't have the hashtag without hashtag you.
Jesus. So we were kind of talking about it before during the Flashpoint talk, but Zack Snyder said during Fandome that the new version of the film is going to do a much better job fleshing out the Cyborg character, who I know both of you are very familiar with. I'm not so much. He also said that we're going to see something from the Flash that we've never ever seen him do before that has to do with space and time.
In movies or comics? I will argue.
I believe he meant in movies and comics.
I want to see his costume come out of his ring.
They
Like
did
in the
that
new
in the show.
52. No, but I mean in the movie.
Okay. I don't think he has the ring yet in the movie.
Too bad. He can make one.
Too bad. We already touched on it though, but you guys seem pretty excited that Cyborg is actually going to like get a story.
He deserves it.
Well, I mean, with a 4-hour runtime, I would hope he gets a
Give him more than
fleshed
30
out
minutes.
story.
Yeah.
Because I mean, otherwise there'd be a lot of just like sitting there, just like, what are they doing? They're just standing there.
Even from the small scenes we have of him in this trailer, I already feel like I'm feeling more about the character. 'Cause even the way he like stands or like certain things are happening, I'm like, wow, that's more emotion than he showed in the other cut. So this is the version we need to see.
Speaking of the trailer, it starts with probably the most important thing about it. We're going right into the breakdown here. There he is in full glory, Darkseid. I mean, completely cut out of whatever we saw from Joss Whedon. Darkseid is the whole reason that Justice League is fighting Steppenwolf in this movie. He is the puppet master. He is the Thanos of the story, and he was not even in Justice League.
See, I actually didn't want to see him in the flesh. I actually wanted him to be a presence that they build up to, kind
like
of
8 movies long, like Thanos,
like something like that. Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that like, granted, I'll watch the Snyder Cut, obviously, but I wanted Darkseid to be built up more, not just like, here's Darkseid.
To be fair, this could just be like a 2-minute flash. Like, we're not going to get him.
True, yeah,
you know.
But
obviously, we'll see. I think it's great that they put him in because we get nothing about him really, except in that flashback or that dream sequence in Batman vs Superman. I don't think that was I don't like that movie, but that wasn't a terrible sequence.
That scene,
I think it's awesome. Anyway, Darkseid is featured. I'm stoked. This is a flashback in this next shot. This is Superman dying again. The reason that this is in the film is that apparently when Superman dies in Batman vs Superman, that is what activates all the boxes around the universe. His scream activates them and knows like that their hero is gone, and now Darkseid can kind of like move forward with his plan. It's a little.
I'll accept that theory for now, but I feel like
it's not a good theory. Because
it also just might be cool to see it again. Here it is, but from a different angle. He's dying. Wait, look at all that lightning. I don't know. Does the Flash go back in time in his movie and sees it?
Oh, snap.
See, I feel like they might sneak some stuff
also, that's his real upper lip.
Thank God. Every scene they have Superman in, they like zoom in. They're like, look at this lip. Look at that lip. That is mustache free.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. This is, I think, again, they're going back to that dream sequence, or this could be what they're talking about with the Flash. This is showing the destruction of the Justice League, kind of in, the same form of the dream sequence that we saw in Batman vs. Superman.
Which is interesting, because they're not going to form it until the end of that movie.
Right.
And Bruce is like, I see this place in my manor. We can have this many chairs. And then Wonder Woman's like, and room for more. And I'm like, shut up, Joss Whedon.
But that's not Wayne Manor.
Exactly, but we don't know.
We don't know. That's very true. Moving along, this is a cool throwback again to the scene that you absolutely hated, but this is an Easter egg. He's not going to be in the movie, but people thought it'd be cool to point out. This is a Joker card on Batman's rifle that he has in that dream sequence, and this is another one flying around. So definitely get some Joker Easter eggs in this film. That's exciting.
DC's always good at hiding really small, like cool Easter eggs in their films.
Yeah, they really are.
One good thing that they're good at.
Yeah, well, because that's where all their CG money goes. Instead of making the fight look really amazing, they're just like, hey, what if we put Wayne Enterprises on this building in the background?
That satellite Wayne Enterprises.
Exactly.
This is a scene that was definitely not in Joss Whedon's version of the film. This is Diana at an old Themyscirian ruin, apparently, and she finds her
She's
mom's...
at the Acropolis, and it's the
actually
flaming arrow, but this time she actually goes to it, as opposed to seeing it on the news, and she's like, got a jet.
That's right. Got it. Invisible jet?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. So what was that? Is that an arrow or is that a spear? Because remember in Batman versus Superman, I believe it was
a spear, yeah,
and it was made of kryptonite because
that's the spear
God forbid Superman has.
Yeah, no, this is the spear. This is the spear from her mother, like warning
the
that
flaming arrow.
that.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I thought, oh, okay, maybe she's going back to where Superman actually died.
Yeah. Her mom lets it loose, and then they're like, the world of men won't know like what this means, and she's like, no, but she will.
Yeah. We don't need to touch on this too much, but this is kind of Bruce, like, I think, regretting the whole, plot point of Batman vs. Superman, looking at what appears to be the silhouette of Clark in his outfit, and kind of gets him to create the whole Justice League.
That's Brutes. It's when Bruce is brooding.
Oh my God.
Brooding
Why'd
Bruce.
you say that?
This is important, even though it's just shirtless Jason Momoa, because
it's always important.
Racist Jason Momoa shirtless in the water. Because
Joss apparently made the scene super cheesy, like with like
the music
with
he
the
put
music
in,
and everything.
Fucking stupid.
And apparently this scene is going to have a much darker tone. He's not going to be like sipping back on like Jack Daniels or whatever.
Or he does, but there's a point to it.
Yeah, and he's gonna. It sounds like he's actually gonna get. I think this is the next still. No, it's not. We'll get to it. I think it's in here. If not, we'll talk about it. But that's gonna be much darker. I mean, listen, I think this film is gonna be Zack Snyder's filmmaking. It's going to be a dark.
It's going to be dark.
It's going to be
It's going to be his best pitch.
Visually, it's going to be dark.
He said that someone tweeted and be like, blah, 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 Snyder cut, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, this is not for Saturday morning cartoon kids. Movie is being made. This cut is for adults. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good selling point or not, but
that worries me slightly because it kind of harkens to we need to make these superheroes dark and edgy and like they're based off of comic books. You can be serious and not be dark.
Can we move on from this picture of Jason, because he's making me feel really bad about like drinking some iced coffee and not working out this morning?
This is a shot that didn't make it into the film, more on Cyborg's backstory and playing for the Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
Not Gotham Knights, the Gotham...
Something. He's a football player.
Is this before Bane blows up the stadium?
Take your power back.
Anyway, disarm this bomb.
On Gotham is in ashes.
The beauty shot of the entire thing. Bruce.
Oh my God. The black suit threw you off. You're
Can
like
I have
black
your
suit
nerd
Batman.
card?
Martha.
It's okay. I said Deathstroke earlier.
You
and
did.
I gave myself a heart
So
attack.
Bruce cosplaying as Black Superman.
It really is, right? We have Clark in all of the black suit glory. My one complaint still is that he doesn't have the mullet. Yes.
Jesus.
But oh well, I'm not going to complain. And apparently, this is going to be the suit. It's not going to be red, blue, and yellow for the entire film. And yes,
That's how it should be.
Happy.
He literally is resurrected. Like they buried him in a black suit just for the drama of it all.
Yeah. No, this is from the Kryptonian ship. Apparently,
I know they all wear it like Zod.
Yeah. This is, I guess, a lighter moment of the opening scene. This is Diana in the bank, and I guess she's smiling at some children, showing that this is still going to have some lighter moments in the film. It's not all dark.
Right
She is
before the child
inspiring
gets
the
shot
children.
or something. That'll be
Yeah.
No. Diana's always the hope.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm just super excited for this part. So you just see a brief, like the ending of like Ezra Miller's Flash using the Speed Force to save who I hope is Iris.
That is Iris West.
It better be, because I'm like, who the fuck else would this be? But like the car flips over, because you only see the end of it. You don't see what leads up to it, which I think is great. But he saves her from this car. The car flips over. It explodes in the background, and they're just like dramatically looking at each other. And I'm like, yes.
Hallelujah.
Iris West.
Hallelujah.
And they won't be related this time. Fucking
Wait.
Flash show.
Thank God.
They're
Yeah.
not
No.
related.
They're kind
In
of.
the Flash show, remember
kind
her
of.
dad adopted him? And
Yeah,
I
but
was
it doesn't
like,
matter. They get married.
I know that, but I just mean like that was
I
the
like
weird
that
thing.
arc.
It was a weird thing about the show was that they like lived together.
I don't mind it.
He's like technically not incest.
Iris completely got cut from Joss Whedon's version of the film,
Yeah.
which is freaking awful.
That's because they had to cut all his character development. So they're like,
Exactly.
Iris can't be in there, or we'll care too much about him.
Yeah. Can't care about these characters, God forbid. This whole sequence they show in the trailer with him like reaching out
So
using the
cool.
Speed Force was really, really cool. Moving along, again, Cyborg backstory at his family's plot, I guess.
just hanging out the family plot.
I'm wondering, this is complete speculation, but I wonder if that's his grave because he's assumed dead. And I wonder if he's like just so pissed off and sad about like everything that's happened to him that he's just punching away at his own grave.
I think this is symbolism. He's going to have a much deeper plot in this film.
Yeah, right. Oh, no.
At least 6 feet deep, guys.
damn.
At least 6 feet deep.
Fine.
Oh.
That one's fine.
I love him.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Treat my robot boy
I
right.
don't even know what soundbite to give you. That was so bad.
Well, it was right, so it should be the opposite of
oh
wrong.
my.
I applaud that. I'd give that one.
Oh my.
You're welcome, audience.
Oh my God. I don't even know if I should continue.
You should. The people deserve it. Oh, I'm excited for this scene. You know why? Because that scene where they meet up. Sorry, I should let the audience know. It's fucking Clark's mom.
Is it?
And who the fuck is it? Clayface? Like what?
No,
do you mean?
no. There's a whole theory because of what Snyder had planned for Martha and this scene.
Oh, okay. Well,
But that is Martha.
it might not be Martha.
Okay.
It's a person that looks like Martha. But when they originally meet up, or when Lois and her meet up in Joss Whedon's version, it's like such a dramatic scene, and it's constantly undercut by this like stupid comedic stuff that's thrown in, and like they're talking about him being dead, and like they still catch up with each other over time, but like that's not. how that conversation should go. And then you have like the news in the background with that crazy lady that's like, aliens abducted my husband, they're probing his butt, and you're like, what is the point of this?
My name is Martha Kent. Martha.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for this because it seems like it actually carries some like emotional gravitas to it.
The rumor is that is Martian Manhunter.
I would love that. But the only way to find out for sure is to like, light a cigarette near him. See if he starts sweating. Dude.
Oh my god.
I love Martian Manhunter, so I hope as hell that he's in this.
Who is played by I forgot the actor's name. It's not David Harwood.
John Jones.
His name is John Jones.
John Jones.
Fun fact: I saw last night. I watched a new trailer for a new animated film, Man of Tomorrow, Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and Martian Manhunter was right in it, and it was just like
Martha Manhunter.
Oh God.
So they're actually going to show Jason Momoa get his armor and his trident from William Dafoe's character and Amber Heard's character. Like they're gonna not
Mara.
Yeah, thank you. I forget
It's okay.
names.
No,
I forget
just
their
thought it
names.
was funny.
Mara and I can't remember William Dafoe's character's name either.
Willem Dafoe.
But he was completely cut from the movie, and now they're showing it.
I'm just thinking when you see Willem Dafoe, I'm thinking of him in the lighthouse now. Just
Dude,
be like,
same.
here
Like
be
a
your
picture.
armor, Arthur.
Did you see that meme now that Robert Pattinson is being Batman? It's like, you got some pretty eyes, boy. And it's the shot where he's covered in makeup. Oh, God.
Oh man.
All right, you guys can tell me
Sally.
who this is because I don't know this character. Apparently, this is Desaad, who is on Darkseid's Planet of Apocalypse.
Yeah, it's one of Darkseid's like underlings.
He
that
looks
does shit.
just sad.
He looks exactly like
Black Order dudes.
yes, thank you,
He looks like Squidward.
Squidward. Thank you,
He's got his wrinkly ass chin.
Ebony Maw, right? Or
I don't
I
remember.
think that was his name. Yeah,
Ebony Maw was the magical one.
yeah, that's who. This
Yeah,
looks
that's him.
like.
That's Squidward.
Yeah.
We don't really need to focus on Lois looking at Superman getting resurrected.
Well,
because I think that's-
You took a really good screenshots. I just want to throw that out there.
thanks. I stole them from Screen Rant.
Oh,
Thank you,
well,
Screen
you did
Rant.
a really good job of stealing them.
Thanks.
I could have done my own script.
This was. Go ahead.
It's just his dad.
Yeah.
Cyborg's daddy. He's looking so sad and he's about to die.
I guess he
He's
wasn't
vaporized.
killed in the film, or he was killed differently. He gets vaporized in this. It's a lot different than his death or not death in Joss Whedon's version.
Because he's supposed to die in the accident that makes Cyborg.
It looks like he's doing something because if you notice in the background, it looks like it might be a mother box.
Yeah,
it is a mother
looks like
box.
the
The
mother
mother
box that
box,
they hit
and
with the
in the scene,
lasers.
it destroys him right after this shot.
Yeah, because
So-
he might be trying to like shut it down.
I think that's exactly
So.
what's happening.
Mother box destroys the father box.
This is the big reveal. Steppenwolf actually looks like a fucking boss instead of a CG douchebag. Armored up, like biomechanical. What do we think about the new Steppenwolf?
I love that he has spikes on his shoulders or his pauldrons, so that way you can't step on him without hurting your toes.
Brittany's on a 30-second timeout. Matt, what do you think?
I mean, it looks better, but to be fair, that was not a high bar to clear because Steppenwolf in the Joss Whedon Justice League was fucking terrible looking. So yeah, this was obviously an improvement. I'm still a little skeptical how it'll look in full motion with him fighting and all that stuff like that. As I said, I've kind of come to realize I'm not a fan of them moving at full fighting speed because it doesn't look good for the most part.
Well, speaking of full fighting speed, I'm actually going to go a few screenshots away and then we'll go back to the other ones because this is a new shot of Superman fighting Steppenwolf that obviously this is the end of the movie was not in Justice League, and this is Supes in his black suit fighting him. That shot of them fighting was so stupidly like kind of like turned into comedy. Like I think Superman has a bunch of like one-liners about like truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah.
Which is awful. Brittany is nodding her head, so I'm taking her off her timeout.
It's okay. I was shaking my head in sadness. So, yeah, I'm excited for Black Suit Superman. Oh, he was one of my favorite action figures to have as a kid because that whole Death of Superman like storyline. It was just I feel like every '90s kid had mullet Black Suit Superman.
Yeah.
So when they did show that he was gonna die, or when you find out he dies in like Batman vs Superman, everybody's like, "Yes, finally, we're getting Black Suit Superman." And then Joss Whedon didn't let it happen.
Nope.
So you had one job. It was already filmed.
It's ridiculous. This is Barry doing something with the Speed Force. Don't really need to touch on that. This is a similar scene of what we see in the actual film that's out of Batman kind of mowing down Steppenwolf's goons. Apparently, this is just going to be a cooler version of that. This we already just talked about. Superman fighting Steppenwolf. And then I don't know why I like this shot so much, but Batman just like deflecting shots with his gauntlets from those flying things.
He was inspired by Wonder Woman. He was like, my suit's going to do that too.
And then I don't know why I like this shot so much, but it's Barry and the Speed Force.
You feel like he's really tapping into it. It's like when Luke first uses the Force. Like, eyes closed, like you really got to believe in it for it to happen. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah. And then this is also important because this is Clark being reunited with Lois and Martha. Now, why is this a big deal? Martha was nowhere to be seen during this reunion, and they were at Smallville at the house.
Farmhouse.
Why was Martha not there?
She was off doing stuff,
because the bank was like, we're foreclosing this house.
Yeah.
It was stupid. Also, I like, hopefully in the scene, he won't be looking at the sun and then turn and his shirt does that thing where it makes it look like he has a ducktail. You know what I mean? The shot where it's like, do Clark got a booty or is that like a little ducktail?
Can it be both?
It sure can.
Anyway, it's a great flannel shirt. This is...
Anyway, it's great that
beautiful.
Martha is actually, there to see her son come back.
Martha brings it all together.
Martha's not far from home.
I don't know why I did this shot.
It's cool.
Because I forget what it is. So it's a fight scene.
It's Cyborg being like, I'm going to bring the rain.
It is Cyborg doing some badass shit. And then this is another shot from the mascara flash. It's not a flashback. It's happening during...
It happens like
they show. Is that when she's explaining the mother boxes and they show like the alliance that fought them?
Yeah. They try to stop him from getting the first mother box. Hopefully this time they won't get mowed down in like 2 seconds, and maybe they'll have the correct armor like from the Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Cyborg doing some badass shit, and then finally the hero shot. There's a similar shot like this in Joss Whedon's, but this is obviously just better and more aligned with Snyder's way of filmmaking and his tones and stuff. So and then finally they haven't fought against us, united, bringing some hope. I like this line. I like it ending on Batfleck. So that's next.
It kind of throws it back to when they had the posters promoting the movie and it was like you can't win alone or something like that. I forget what it was.
Well, and they had the one with Aquaman with the Unite 7.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this marketing is fantastic.
Yeah, and then you get to the movie and you're like, you're hardly united.
Yeah.
Nor do I know anything about you.
Let's get to kind of the elephant in the room that Snyder did reveal that the original director's cut is 5 hours. This director's cut will be 4 hours and released in 4 parts. How do we feel?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, 4 hours is if you release the entire thing in one block, and also they got to make that money, baby. So you release it, you drib it out to people. So
I'm okay with it. I think that Snyder did say that if you want to enjoy just like one 4 hour viewing, you could do that too. Which is, I think, something I'm going to do.
Yeah, probably.
Knowing me, I'm just going to like...
Oh, but we haven't talked about the fact that he uses Hallelujah. A weird version of Hallelujah.
I think it's a fuck you to Whedon.
Well, yeah, I think so, because it's like, Hallelujah, my cut is here. Like, I think that's the only reason they use the song.
It better fucking deliver with the ballsiness of that.
I'm tired of people using that song, though. It's so overdone.
I've already said this, though. This movie better deliver.
Yep. Shrek did it best.
No, because I posted in chat last night after watching it, all I kept thinking was freaking Watchmen. The sex scene in Watchmen in the owl.
I was going to say Watchmen had the better slowed down version of a song. Like the beginning is the end is the beginning for that trailer. I loved that Watchmen trailer. I was freaking out when I was 15 and I saw that trailer for the movie. I was like, no way. So, yeah. Hallelujah didn't do that for me, but I got it because I was like, oh, he's saying hallelujah. My version is here. It's on the horizon.
Anyway, we don't have to wait too much longer. The Snyder Cut is coming out in 2021. Whether that means like holiday 2021 or summer 2021 remains to be seen.
January 1st, 2021.
That would
Best
be
case scenario.
Fucking awesome. Moving on, we'll just kind of blow through these because we have to get to the Batman. The Rock came and did a thing about Black Adam. Unfortunately, that movie has been completely shut down because they didn't even start filming before things got shut down, so it got delayed again. But showed some really awesome concept art. Made a really big hint that Superman is going to be in the film, which would be pretty fucking
I mean,
awesome.
he showed up in the end of Shazam.
Exactly. And the other big news is that the JSA, the Justice Society of America, will be featured in the film with the likes of Hawkman, Atom Smasher, Cyclone,
Cyclone cut.
Cyclone, Spectre, and Dr. Fate.
Very
So,
excited for Dr. Fate.
Yeah, I'm excited for the JSA. This is, I think, I know you're not so thrilled about or convinced about The Rock as Black Adam.
Well, it's more of the fact that like Dwayne Johnson, like my image of him, once again, he's an actor.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Well, it's just like I always picture him in like more lighthearted roles. I mean that's just my.
He means half the bargain bin films we watched with him this year.
That too. Although Awful August has been very very mean to me. I'll just put that out there.
It really has, dude. What was the West one?
Wagons East.
Wagons East had 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm so
I
sorry,
know
Matt.
that's why I put
Very
it in
sorry.
there.
He's really at the bottom of the barrel now.
Yeah.
I was stoked about the Q&A session they did with Harley for the animated show. Like, I think like a fan asked Harley for like women advice, and she just goes, "Have you tried jerking off?" And I was just like, sold, starting this show today.
You need to watch. It's such a good show.
I do want to watch it.
Well, it's Kaylee.
Kaylee Cuoco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and she does such a great job just from this little Q&A thing I watched. She was hilarious. She made fun of Jared Leto again.
Yeah, I like her version of Harley. It works so well for the animated show.
I love like, her because I've seen clips of the Harley Quinn show, but her and Ivy playing off each other,
good.
especially when like Ivy I think busts in on that talk show. She goes, "Yeah, that's my life. Just clean up your fuck ups."
That's in season 1. It's so good.
So wait, was that? I didn't see that. Was it like the animated?
It was
Harley
the
Quinn and
animated
just, like, her
Harley
talking
doing
through her?
a Q&A with
That's
fans.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. This had to be the weirdest panel of the show. Zachary Levi showed up for a Shazam panel with the rest of the cast. Sinbad. Yes, that Sinbad showed up.
I love Sinbad.
I do too. I just...
Do people care about Sinbad?
That's my question.
Has he been
Well,
relevant
way.
in like over a decade or more at this point?
His what do you call it? His comics is good. Not like his comic specials that he does. He is really
He's a
really
pretty
good.
funny dude.
He's really good
So he
stand up.
should change his name to Sin Good?
The thing is with him,
Sin Mediocre.
yeah, right. He doesn't have to use like a lot of like curses in his comics. and whatnot.
Cursing
out.
is fun.
I'm out.
but-
I'm thinking like
but he's
Sinbad in the
good.
7 Seas, and I'm just like, my brain is at that early 2000s
I love Eris
movie.
in that
Right?
movie.
Eris is so cool.
Just her movement. Yeah, awesome.
I'm glad we could bond over that.
I know.
She flows so cool.
Glorious.
Animation.
This panel did absolutely nothing. The only thing it gave us was the title to the sequel, which is Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods.
Oh, come on. Why isn't Electric Boogaloo or something?
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Come on, DC. This is what we're talking about.
Shazam 2, Electric Boogaloo.
We promised that we would talk about them more later in the show, and we're at that point. Rocksteady, the team behind the awesome Arkham games, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. This game looks fantastic. I know you're on the fence.
Well, once again, it didn't show me gameplay.
Yeah.
That was all pre-rendered cutscenes and everything that they made specifically just to show off and to show the concept of it. Which cool. I'm on board with it. I like Rocksteady. And
I prefer Bebo.
Bebop.
Bebop?
Nope.
Oh my god, I said Bebo. That's what I call my cat.
Bebo from Legends
Sorry.
of Tomorrow. Bebo.
I meant to say Bebop. Oh my god. Bebop. I prefer Bebop.
Even Britney's slip of the tongue was still a DC reference.
It still was. I call my cat Echo. I call her Bebo sometimes. I'm like, Bebo.
Well, technically, isn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of with DC a little bit? We're stretching it.
I thought they were more
Just-
independent.
No.
Just a tad. Well, they crossovers.
Have they had crossovers? Yes.
Well, yeah, they have crossovers.
I know.
in the,
It's so good.
I own the
They
I
recently
own the
had Power Rangers
I own the
crossover.
Batman vs Ninja Turtles movie, and I still haven't watched it. And now
I just wanted to join in the
now
fun.
we all have COVID.
Thanks.
Thanks, Julie.
Yep. I was actually really excited to see Deadshot's power.
I was gonna say the co in COVID stands for cooperative, and I couldn't. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Julian.
I'm keeping that in.
Guess you called.
Yep, it's staying in. Yes, the co in COVID does stand for cooperative because this is going to have 4-player co-op, and that is very exciting. bring Harley together with Captain Boomerang and Deadshot and fucking King Shark.
I love King. Oh, you guys will love King Shark in the animated show.
Start with the
Oh
turret.
boy, it's so good.
The biggest news to come out of this game is that it is set in the same universe, so I'm guessing events, as the Arkham games.
And I don't know how that's going to work because the end of the trailer shows Superman like murdering somebody.
I'm guessing that the Justice League has been possessed by whatever this
Of
alien
course.
It looks like
force is.
Brainiac's ship.
It does.
Yes,
So-
that is very much
Yeah.
Brainiac. That was my
Yeah.
first thought when I saw
Because
it.
when I saw in the background, I'm like, are they fighting Brainiac right now? And Harley's just like jumping over rocks with her hands. I'm
So
like, this is
awesome.
amazing. I love it. And I think it is Tara Strong still doing her voice, just like a different version of Harley.
Yeah.
Because normally she's like, okay, B-Man.
Mr.
Like
J.
that, Mr. J. Oh my God. When she was in the hospital in the first game, it's like, ding, 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 ding. Mr. J, we'll see you now. So great. But now she's like, hey, get over here. And people are like, what's happening to her voice? And I'm like, it's Tara Strong reaching a new level.
Yeah.
She's becoming more Tara Strong.
I don't see how this guy they can screw this up. I mean,
Oh, you can, trust me.
I don't know.
It's-
You could screw up any game, but Rocksteady has an amazing track record.
Yeah, and once again, like you already got me kind of hooked with the concept of it. I'm very much interested in it.
Yeah, they're pretty rock steady with their, output.
I'm not
I
even
think.
giving you the satisfaction.
It's
but
fine.
just the fact that we're going to get to see the Suicide.
You both today.
Look at the Suicide
You
line.
both, the Suicide Squad.
To be fair, we're talking a lot.
That would be
about
a
all this.
hell of a superhero team.
They're skying me.
I just like the idea of them taking out the Justice League, like seeing them fight the likes of. I guess Batman probably won't be in there.
They'll all be there.
Maybe he will.
But it is. But the thing I am curious about is how does the Suicide Squad take on the Justice League? Because these
Gods against people.
yeah, these
with
are
their
literal
sameness.
gods.
They have King Shark.
How does
Yeah.
Sorry,
the
Oh,
Teen
King
Titans-
Shark has a gun, which of course Superman.
Do you want to
is
know a
very
fun fact
vulnerable
about
to.
King Shark? He has canonically had sex with Constantine.
Yes, he has.
Good for him.
Remember that last DC animated film they came out with? And he was just like, oh God, my ex is over there.
I think they
And
make a
then-
reference to it as well in Legends of Tomorrow or The Flash. I
Yeah.
think there's a reference to that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a reference.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he
Con-
does show
Constantine
up.
just gets it
Who
from
hasn't
everywhere.
Constantine?
Who has a Constantine
Consummated
fucked?
with.
Yeah, pimp. Anyway, Rocksteady Suicide Squad. There wasn't a whole lot because it's not coming out till 2022.
Yeah.
So,
Bastards.
I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for it.
all right.
There wasn't a pun there. I know you were
I
expecting
want
it.
that game so bad. It looks like a creepy.
You know what I really want? Vengeance.
Good segue, sir.
Oh, I thought so. This is the moment I think everybody's been waiting for. Matt Reeves, the Batman. Before we get into talking and breaking down the trailer, this was the best panel of the night simply because everybody else was like, oh, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about that. I can't give you any of these details. Dude, Matt Reeves went in and did like a full convention panel and talked about all the details of the film and gave some really just like big insights into the Batman. And I have much respect for that because he just could have been like, we want everything to be a surprise. And that just wasn't the case.
He's like, you poor kids are starving. There's a pandemic. Here you go.
Exactly. So one of the pieces of news that he gave was that the Batman is a year 2 story. So he's been Batman for a year plus now, but he's still making mistakes and kind of like learning about it. So that means that Bruce is still very green in that role. It's also very much a personal story for him as he unravels the mystery of the string of murders that have been going on in Gotham and dealing also with the corruption in the Gotham police force. It is not at all an origin
Thank
story.
God. 'Cause
Yeah.
if I got to see Martha Wayne's fucking pearls hitting the ground and that bang to happen in the alleyway and that fucking smile like the devil in the pale moonlight. You know what I mean? If I got to see that shit one more time in movie form, I might actually
Third
Lose my
icy
shit.
at the
What about
screen.
Yeah.
but what about Wayne? You get what you fucking deserve.
get what you fucking deserve. Well, we saw it then in a film that had nothing to do with Batman.
Really, and let's be honest, Brittany wouldn't waste Icy.
That's a very good
It's
point. She wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm very pleased that this is not an origin story. Like it's him at a point that we've never really seen him on screen. Like in the role, he's been there, he's getting acclimated to it, but we don't see him like have to deal with Ma and Pa getting shot.
I'm glad for that because it gives us more time to focus on him being Batman, and that is something that I very much want to see in my Batman movies.
Yep.
Matt Reeves has also stated that Paul Dano's take on the Riddler is going to be something that's completely different than anything that we've seen in the comics or Jim Carrey's take.
Certainly different than that.
And the same goes for Zoe Kravitz's take on Selena Kyle. He made a really important note that she will not be Catwoman yet in this. We see her stealing shit and being a cat burglar, but she doesn't take up the mantle of Catwoman yet.
I'm fine with that. I loved her scenes, even though they're very few and far in between. I just liked it. I was like, yes, Zoe, get it.
Yeah, totally agree. One of the aspects of the film that I'm really excited about, I think I'm more excited about than actually seeing Batman on the screen, is that Jeffrey Wright is playing Gordon. Jeffrey Wright's one of my favorite actors. I really got hooked on him when he played, I always forget the name of the CIA agent, but in Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig Bond film.
I still haven't seen it.
What?
Yeah. Dude, I started watching the Bond movies from the beginning, so I'll get there eventually.
Oh my
Oh,
word.
I'm so sad we never got to do our big Bond rewatch in
I
order
know.
to see the newest film.
Yeah.
Because I had a whole like a not a meme, but like an image that was like all of them in a row, and it was a really
Some
cool
of
photo.
some of the older Bond films are
Oh, they're
really
bad.
bad and
Real-
racist.
the misogyny is really strong. Because like the first two, I was like, oh my god.
I can't stand Roger Moore,
No one can stand Roger
but
Moore.
I do love View to a Kill is one of my favorite Bond openings, and I hate it because I have to watch the rest of the movie. But I'm like, as a kid, I was just like, whoa, that paint's glowing. This is weird.
Anyway, I love Jeffrey Wright, and he's going to be taking on Gordon. This isn't just a Batman story. This is very much like a grounded Matt Reeves film, and it's going to be a story about Gotham, which has always been a part of Batman, the corrupt GCPD, and kind of Gordon trying to like stay away from that and save his soul. Jeffrey Wright just seems perfect for this role.
Yeah.
He seems right. You walked right
That
into
was
that
too
one, bro.
obvious.
I
Like,
did.
it's almost like he set me up for it. I was like, right out of Gotham Park.
But the great thing with Jeffrey Wright is he can play. If you watched Westworld,
I didn't.
you haven't watched Westworld yet, please watch Westworld. He plays a character, I can't go into spoiling it. He plays the character of playing on both the good side and the bad side so perfectly that you can't tell which side he's playing on at that time.
Nice.
That's why I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. We mentioned this earlier. This is a year 2 story. So apparently Matt Reeves and his team spent like an entire year designing the bat suit and the Batmobile. And if you notice when we got the first looks and now in the trailer, both seem very practical. Like the Batmobile is pretty much just like a car with a jet engine on the back. And the bat suit's very rugged. It shows signs of wear and tear.
So the crew's in year 2 also? Because you said they spent a whole year on the other stuff?
They must be,
Batman's
right?
in year 2, and so is the crew.
Yeah, after seeing the trailer, like everything just looks very just down to earth. Like this could actually be something that, you know, someone did. It doesn't look like a Wayne Tech bat suit.
Yeah. Like, it's not tactical. You know,
Yeah,
people just
no, I
buy
know what you
tactical
mean.
gear.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we were saying when they first showed some of like the stills, like even his stunt performer, like on the motorcycle, you know, and it's like, you know, weirdly out in like daylight or something. You know, I used it for memes for our page. But we were even saying like just from the costume, like how it looks very practical. Like someone could have feasibly put this together who has the money for it, but it's also not like super sleek and advanced like, you know, Bruce Wayne's got like Fox doing it for him.
He doesn't have like X-ray computers in his eyes.
Exactly.
In
He's
his
like,
cowls of his eyes. Like, yeah.
Gotta lick this blood. Don't have to lick it. My computer will tell me what it is.
But it's kind of looks like going back to the Flash, like
Yeah.
his first kind of
Prototype.
in the his prototype costume. It kind of looks like he built it.
He's like, this is
himself.
version 2 because I'm in year 2. Version 3 coming
It's his sophomore year.
2025.
Matt, I know you've been waiting to talk about this. Matt Reeves also talked about casting Robert Pattinson in the role of Bruce Wayne / Batman. Says he cast him for his charisma and ability to be a chameleon. Listen, after Twilight, Robert Pattinson has done a variety of different weird, good roles.
Yeah. And I'm already laughing my ass off because I know how many of you are out there that shit on Robert Pattinson when he was cast, that were like, You know?
Oh, Rob's like, I'm gonna see myself out.
Yeah, like Rob raises his hand. Like so many people shit on this dude because of Twilight, you know, because he's Edward Cullen, he's the sparkly vampire. Batman's gonna be a sparkly bitch or something like that. And I even said like a while back, like give the dude a chance. Like he's an actor, let him act, let him be in the role. I loved what I saw from him. His voice, he didn't have to do some gravelly Christian Bale shit. He didn't have some electronic thing like Ben Affleck. He was just darker. He was just a little bit, you know,
emo.
A little bit more emo. The only thing I wasn't a fan of with his appearance was his hair was
I didn't
a little
like the hair
long.
either.
I was like,
He's going the Crow.
I hope he cuts his hair in the movie or something, or that's just like a brief shot of him, like, you know, when he was like at his lowest, emotionally depressed and so on and so forth. But Robert Pattinson, from what I saw, looks like he's going to be a fantastic Batman. And I love the fact that people who shit on this are saying how much they love this trailer and how much they love what they saw. And I seriously just want to be like, where were you? Like, where was this positivity when this movie was being like first announced, when the casting was first being shown?
Yeah. And that just shows that those same people are the people that probably never even watched Twilight, but knew he was from that, ripped on him for that, even though he's the most outspoken of hating his role in Twilight and the fact that he had to do all those films. Doesn't even want to go back to do another one if they do it. And they probably haven't seen any film he's been in since, because he's over and over and over again done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Like Twilight, he seemed miserable because he was actually miserable. So was half the cast on that show. And you can go back to our episode where we first discussed him being announced on the show. And we all across the board said, like, okay, give him a chance. He is an amazing actor. And we all defended that too. We're like, sometimes it's the people you don't expect that pull off the best job as these superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to give examples because there's just so many times that happen. Yeah. You know, it's the same thing like Tony Stark. Like, same thing. Robert Downey Jr. got announced and people were like, oh, Robert Downey Jr., who hasn't done anything?
That's
who was
not
like
the easiest.
No, but like who were skeptical about it.
The easiest swing for this is Heath Ledger as the Joker. And there are
Yeah, that
screenshots
too.
of people like that pretty boy from 10 Things
Exactly.
I Hate About You, like as the Joker. Screw
And
that.
now
They
he's
forget
the
that
bar.
He is like
actors-
the bar Joker now.
Yeah, they forget that actors act for a living. Like, they literally become different people.
This is
for
why
every
they get
role.
paid millions of dollars.
Yeah. Like, some people get typecast, or some people are only able to portray one type of character, unfortunately. But there are many people out there that can cover many different roles if you give them the opportunity. He's one of them.
We were talking about this in our co-chat with our friends over at Geeks with Kids, and your Matt counterpart brought up the fact that what was great about seeing Pattinson as Batman in this trailer was the fact that it didn't feel like anything we've ever seen before from Batman in any film or television incarnation, but yet still felt like Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that's great that they can do something completely new and still say, okay, that's Batman.
I'm always interested to see, and that's something that I'll attribute to watching the animated movies, TV shows, and stuff like that, is I'm always interested to see people's take on the Batman and, you know, the villains and all that stuff like that. But I'm very excited for this movie now. Like that trailer like got me hyped. It got me hopeful for the DC movies and such again. And the idea of maybe they could build their universe back up.
Exactly.
Maybe they could do something good with this.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about the trailer because we have a lot to get through for that. This shot is of I'm guessing some guy trying to lure Batman out, because I think it says for the Batman on his chest. He's got a bomb strapped to him with an iPhone. This takes away the rumor that this film is set in the 90s, because that is obviously a smartphone, so it does take place in current times, or at least, you know,
Or maybe it's Batman's 90s.
yeah, exactly, which is a mix of both. So, you know, this is obviously has something to do with, you know, the Riddler's game.
yeah.
Moving on, this is one of the first shots of the trailer. This is something I want to talk about real quick. This trailer does an amazing job of making you feel uncomfortable the minute it starts with hearing that tape get pulled. I was like getting goosebumps. That was.
And then the Nirvana kicks in and you're like, yes! And you're over the moon.
This is a ballsy shot to start a trailer with. This is graphic, you know? Like this is telling you like this is going to be a dark film. This is going to be a Matt Reeves film.
Yeah.
And I really like that. This guy, you know, with the duct tape all around his face.
Man, this is Matt Reeves, not Christopher Reeves.
Nope. This is a card that's addressed to the Batman from the Riddler. It's got this really cool codec there that I'm guessing that Bruce is going to have to decode at some point. The clue says, haven't a clue? Let's play a game. Just me and you. I love the fucking Riddler.
Riddle me this, bat fake.
Yep.
I love it. Riddler is one of my favorite Batman villains.
Yes,
because I love solving all his clues. Yeah.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
This is a really cool shot of Pattinson with like the makeup that he uses to make the whole cowl, stay black. But I guess this is maybe like after leaving the Batsuit, or he doesn't want to attract the attention of Batman, so he's kind of going like incognito.
I do every time though. I do see the eye makeup. I always think of I think Funny or Die did a series called Badman where. Batman was like incompetent.
I love that.
But when he was talking to Superman the one episode, he just goes, and Superman's like, "You're wearing eye makeup." He's like, "Fuck you."
It's just so much of the Crow vibes too, so I really like it.
This is Batman getting blown up at. I guess apparently this is a funeral of maybe GCPD's commissioner or a mayor or someone important.
He gets changed really fast to fight on that guy that just showed up.
Yeah, right. First shot is Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle. I'm very excited for her doing her Cap Burglar thing.
I'm just gonna the Kravitz family blows my mind that Lenny is like in his 50s and looks like he's younger than I am, and Zoe is like in her early 30s.
It's because they're vampires.
Remember when he was in the Hunger Games?
Yep.
Oh, that was such a
great
cool
role.
like cameo. I was just like, this is such a great role for him.
Yeah.
Cinna.
This gang is really cool because they have like this kind of like Day of the Dead thing going with their masks. There's also maybe like a hint that even though he's not going to be in the movie, that they maybe used to work with the Joker with the way that the lines.
They're ex-Joker.
Ex-Joker gang.
It's the Joker gang from Batman Beyond.
I got a vibes from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Arkham City, with just like the random goons
Yes.
just roaming around. That's what I got from that.
The dude with the cross up top, at first from like one angle when you see it, it kind of looks like Red X. If you guys have seen like Teen Titans, remember like the X persona?
I've never watched it in a while,
Okay,
unfortunately.
because like Robin takes on that persona to try and fight Slade. It's like a whole thing. So from a certain angle, I was like, ooh. But I know it's not
We'll be getting back to these guys in a second. This is a cool scene because one of the things that's interesting at the beginning of this trailer is that it seems like Gordon and the police kind of welcome Batman onto this crime scene, but then they're holding him back. So, there's always been that kind of hard alliance that's not, it's kind of always been on a thin line between the GCBD and Batman.
Well, that's always been because you could see maybe the thing of like at first they might welcome Batman until he starts going, so now I'm going to look into you guys and your guys' corruption. Now they're like, well, up yours, dude. We don't do anything wrong. Screw you.
Yeah. Again, this is stemming that apparently this is going to start that they're going to have an HBO Max GCPD series, which again, I'm very excited about. This is cool because this is his Bat Cave, which is not very refined yet. Like it certainly looks like he's still kind of moving things in and out. I guess
feng shuiing.
It looks like a real cave.
Yeah,
Okay.
It does. It looks
Yeah.
like this is under
It's a
Wayne
functional
Manor.
cave.
Like this used to be a part of Wayne Manor that they just built on top of.
Yeah, look at those fancy ass stairs, man.
Yeah, dude.
Could you imagine just? I love when you're wearing a costume, like for cosplay or whatever, especially if it has like a little cape or something. You just like walking down those stairs every day. He's got to be like, I'm really fucking cool.
I'm Batman.
I'd be worried about tripping on my cape going down the steps. Like I'm Oh God!
He could get a fireman's pole.
Meanwhile, we already mentioned it. Meanwhile, during this entire trailer, we have Nirvana Unplugged playing, and
So
it's just,
good.
like fantastic. Not sure. There's rumors that this is the Riddler, but I don't think it is. Because that would just be a really different take on him, and I don't think that Matt Reeves is going to do that big of a departure.
I mean, I'm kind of going into one of the animated movies, but I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. But
It's too late for them.
But in Batman Hush, like Hush is actually the Riddler,
That's what people are,
and that's what I could see them doing something like that.
Also makes sense that he keeps taping people's mouths shut. He's like, hush.
This is really cool. Talking about Don Falcone, I guess newspaper, and then lies across there. Don Falcone is going to be being played by John Turturro. I'm screwing up
It's
his
okay.
name.
I just don't know who. It
Yeah,
is.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, that's he's playing Don Falcone.
Lies. Deception.
There's the man himself, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, looking good.
I'm
in
excited.
the role.
He's a very good actor.
Yep. Batman.
Batman. I'm Batman.
A good look at the suit. The eyes are really dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's makeup.
It's cool. That's why he does it. It makes more sense because people would be like, "Oh, you have wonderful blue eyes. Now I know who you are in real life." Now he's like,
the cowl and the cape have that very like original Batman comic look, like from I guess what, like the 50s, 60s, or was it even the 40s?
I mean, they were blue, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It
though,
has
but
the
like,
look, the style.
Yeah.
I like it.
And this is what you were talking about with the hair.
Yeah, the long like emo hair that, as Brittany said, kind of is like the Crow or something.
Well,
But
like Gotham's so grungy, and maybe that's rich people coiffed for them. You know?
But he also, at this point in the game, he might not be like fully back up to his like rich, like high society status.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, he might still be coming back from a lot of things, coming back from learning all like the fighting and whatnot. Even if he gets to that point,
and he doesn't want
with
the
the
Twilight
goggles.
Pompadour at all. So I do not blame him. This is a much better look.
Let me also say though, even though he's got this hair, that face just screams Bruce Wayne, like that
tortured, emotional.
Yeah,
that
like
wreck,
I think it's a great shot.
Yeah.
I think also maybe he wears his hair this way and looks like that, so people will overlook him more. Like, it depends on how noticeable he'll be in the movie, but maybe he's, once again, from a rich family, but everybody knows the parents died. He's just doing his own thing. He's not, like, in the spotlight as much, because it's earlier on.
Bruce
as
Wayne
Batman.
can't be Batman. He's an emo git.
Yeah, poor kid. His parents died. Look at his hair. He's from The Crow.
Another shot of Selena, and this is that same scene. I guess, you know, they're going to have some kind of interaction, obviously, because you
I
can't
hope
not.
there's tension.
This is Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And that is the Penguin. The complete transformation, it doesn't look anything like Colin Farrell. I'm impressed.
Just the eyes.
Just the eyes. Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't even know that when I watched it last night. Maybe it was sort of sheer fact I was watching it at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Dude, nobody
I didn't
knew
even notice that. I noticed that it was like, wow, it really looks like kind of like Penguin-esque, but I didn't even realize it was Colin Farrell.
I had
People
to
later
read it.
confirmed.
I had to
Really?
read that was him. I had no idea. I'm impressed by
Dude,
the makeup team.
is... That's what I mean by when people say that actor can't play somebody. I'm like, you know how good makeup teams are these days? Come on.
This is a cool shot of him using the bat grapple hook. Nothing really to say there. Fucking Batmobile. Whoa.
Yeah.
I love how it looks like, you know, a legitimate car that he soups out
Literally
the back
put like
for.
a jet engine on the back
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
He's like, this won't flip over at all. We're fine.
We get the emo look.
Okay, but like serious Crow vibes. I know I've said it like
yeah.
80 times, but I feel it.
I'm thinking of the Batman. Alfred, help me bolt this jet engine to the back of the car.
The last shot we'll talk about, which I thought we were coming back to, I thought I had a shot of it, was that probably the most memorable scene from the trailer when the dude attacks him and he just fucking
He wrecks,
kills him,
dude. He like that dude. If that dude's alive, he's going to need severe reconstructive surgery.
And then one of the goons asks him like, "What are you?" And he goes, "I am vengeance." And it's so good. It is so good.
I was expecting the like I'm Batman or something like that, but I mean I was fine with the I'm Vengeance. It was still pretty cool. But
I'm happy he
I
didn't
like
say I'm Batman.
Vengeance better.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when they put the release date at the end and it said it makes the shape of 2021, but the twos are question marks without the dot at the bottom. So you're just like, ooh, either the Riddler's really going to be involved in this or they're just being like, we really don't know. Either way, it works for me.
When we very first talked about the Batman, I think we were all pretty skeptical, like we don't need another Batman movie. Then we got the stills and we got a little bit more excited. Now we've gotten this trailer. Where are we now?
I always was fine with another Batman movie because the thing that I'm still unsure about, and I have to read up it to see if there still is like them going too heavy with too many villains at once. Because as I said, like the thing about Batman is his like playing off of each individual villain. Like you could probably do 2, maybe 3.
Never go Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, never go hard on having too many villains. Like I'm kind of hoping that this movie will do more of like maybe the villains show up and then the Riddler kind of gets them, then they kind of scatter to the winds when Riddler goes down, and then you could do future movies based off of him going after these other villains. So I'm just hoping that there isn't like, the Penguin shows up just to get his ass punched
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then Penguin's in jail, or he's in Arkham now. Yay.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully it's like the rise of all those other key players, and then they're kind of like not in the forefront. It's whoever the main villain he's facing is, like you said, and then they go on to do their own things.
I think it's smart if that they're doing a GCPD story with this, that they do kind of pick like the bad guys that are more like crime bosses and like real supervillains like Penguin and like the Riddler. Maybe you could throw the Joker in there too, I guess. But these are two good picks.
My pretties.
I want penguin armies.
Yeah, right.
Rockets on their
My parents threw me into the river as a child. I lived in the sewers.
We know that this was a ton of content to take in. We'll have all the segments for you if you want to skip to certain parts of the show. We really appreciate you sticking with us. Next week is our season finale time. This has been a blast talking about DC Fandome. I think it was an absolute wonderful event.
I was glad DC was relevant again.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Marvel pretty much just took DC behind the woodshed for the last decade and beat them with a stick. So.
I love DC it. I love just to see it.
God damn it, Brittany.
Yeah.
It worked. Shut up.
We're we need to get Brittany out of here before she starts making more puns. So we will be back next week for episode 75. So for Rob, who surprised us, for Matt, for Brittany,
For vengeance.
I'm Julian. Have a good night.
You can find Everything is Permitted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Everything is Permitted is produced by Rob Migliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Geneva Stein-Shivers. Our executive producers are Michael Cox, Brittany Tomes and the Tomes family, and Julian Brown.